Morning, I'm here at the Denver Gold Show. My name is Sean Roosen. I'm the founder of the Osisko group of companies, starting with the Osisko Mining Group 1 back in 2003. And then also the founder of Osisko Gold Royalties, Osisko Development Corporation, and founding chairman of Osisko Mining 2. The Osisko group has been a long participant in the resource development, mostly focused on precious metals, but also some base metals, and currently working on some of the metal transition projects that we see in lithium and base metals as well. As a group, we've been around for quite a while. We've created about $10 billion worth of market cap in different companies. And we're currently evolving with our main strategy, which is big brownfield deposits in good jurisdictions like Canada and the US and North America. And we've got two that we're going to talk about today, one being the Caribou Gold Project in central British Columbia, and the second being the Tintic Gold Project located just outside of Provo, Utah. And that's going to be an exciting one. We're getting ready to drill a big target there.
Sean, good to see you. And, in beautiful surroundings here in Colorado Springs, somewhat. Right, you're here at the conference. You're here to do what? Are you promoting the group, or we're talking about the development company?
Mostly what we're working on today. We have 3 or 4 different tracks on the go. Our royalty company is doing very well with these equity markets the way they are. The royalty business is extremely busy. And we also have Osisko Mining and Osisko Development here, right? As well as some of our other Tier 2 development groups.
Right, and to have the investors, have the banks, has the money turned up?
Well, I think that right now, we're a bit of a war of attrition. There's a lot of junior developers, junior explorers out there that need financing. So there's a lot of pressure on that space right now. However, that is creating opportunity both for private equity, royalty companies, and corporates who are looking to acquire development assets.
Right, and you've come at this with a blended approach to risk as well. The royalty companies, it's prime time for those guys. Yeah. I bet a lot of conversations happening there.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got full deal teams on the ground here running in 2 tracks. So, we've seen a lot of companies that have come around to the royalty and streaming business that we would not normally see in a strong equity market. So that's a field of opportunities that we're active in.
Okay.
And we've always been sort of a down cycle strategist to, buy low, sell high, easy to say, hard to do.
Well, we're right there right now. So let's come back to the royalties another time. Obviously, things are going great guns there. Let's talk about Osisko Development today. You've got a couple of projects going on, and I want to ask this question in the backdrop of what's been a tough market for the last 3 years for precious metals. Share price is not looking particularly nice to look at the moment. How do you build a business in that environment?
Yeah, well, every one of these projects usually goes through at least one cycle. So we do our best to plan ahead, take advantage of the cycle, and down cycle we'll try and deploy capital to reduce costs by buying equipment and hedging out costs at the bottom, getting through permitting cycles, which we're doing right now. And also any chance we can to bolt on projects that are coming in at low cost. So within our group right now, the main development project is called Caribou Gold, located just south of Quesnel. It's a classic Osisko story. This is a brownfield camp that was part of the fabric of the development of Canada, founded back in the 1858. Lots of historic mining there, and it was the reason that British Columbia was in the Canadian Federation. Fast forward to where we are now. We took the project over in 2016. Lights kind of went on a geological model that I think is quite striking in 2018, and we filed for our feasibility study for the permit for 4,900 ton a day underground mine back in 19, and we just received notice that our EA has been referred for the minister, so we're through the final steps of the permitting process, and our goal was to get the permit for that initial phase. We think this is a mining camp, and this gets us a big project built in Canada. We're looking for about 200,000 ounces a year to come out of that, with the building stones to maybe be a 350 to 500,000 ounce a year camp as we get further into the development on this project.
Okay, so and we'll go down to Utah in a second. You've raised as much money as your market cap today. So how do I, as an investor, in the last 3 years, how do I, as an investor, gauge the value, true value of a business like that if the market's not giving you any kind of credit, almost, it seems?
Yeah, I think it comes back to the buy low, sell high strategy. A lot of money has gone into these projects and all very wisely spent. Mostly, in the terms of the BC Caribou Gold Project, they're benefiting from 750,000 meters of drilling, which is about 2 million feet. And there's about $260 million worth of infrastructure has been put in place. So you're really getting quite a deal if you come into the shares right now. And there's a couple of catalysts that I would say are pertinent in a market like this. This will be probably the next gold mine to be fully permitted in Canada. It's located on brownfields, and it's going to be a very ESG friendly mine. In that we have a deal with BC Hydro at 6.1 cents Canadian a kilowatt hour, and most of the mining equipment will be electric. So it's quite a new tech mine, taking advantage of that, and we've received several credits within BC and Canada to build this mine with these newer technology.
Right. So Warren Buffett says if you're investing, it's about the future value, the money that the company's going to give you. It sounds like from the feasibility study numbers, this will throw off a lot of cash.
Yeah.
People aren't getting it right now.
Well, I think there's two main numbers to remember about the Caribou Gold Project. One is we're getting about 14,000 ounces per vertical meter. So 100 vertical meters would get you 1.4 million ounces. We've drilled this thing down to about 900 meters in sort of proof of concept. On a resource level, we've only drilled it down to 350 meters, and we ended up with about 3.7 million ounces of measured and indicated, another 1.7 in inferred. So if you extend that down below us, which we've been at proof of concept now, you can see it becomes a sizable asset. And the Osisko Group, we're always about world-class, trying to get to tier 1, which is 500,000 ounces a year. The reason we stuck into this project is the way we have is because we believe this is a mining camp, not just a mine. And this first step will get us the central processing facility, and there's a significant amount at depth under the existing structure. It's 83 kilometers or 50 miles of trend, and the current resource is on 4 kilometers or 2.5 miles. So we've explored about 6% of the mineralized belt on this thing. So it is going to be a large project of the future.
And what's the timing on this? We've got the feasibility study out. Are you going through bankable as well, and then inevitable fundraising to do that?
Yeah, we're in project financing right now.
Okay.
Looks pretty good. We filed a feasibility study in January for phase 1 of the 4,900 tons a day. And we're working on, the exploration to go to expand on that premise. But that 4,900 tons a day will generate about 200,000 ounces and sets the stage for possible expansion after that.
Okay, and just again, I'm trying to understand the mindset. You've got 40% owned by Osisko royalties. You've got a reasonable institutional following there and retail behind that. Does that kind of register structure cause you any problems in terms of liquidity?
We can always argue about liquidity. I mean, everybody loves the idea of liquidity. Everybody hates it when you get it on a down cycle. I think that having a big block in there, while we try and evolve this asset and get the market eyes on it, it's a bit, we're a bit in the ramp up to, the recognition as we come through this permitting and development phase, and we see the larger project emerge. So to protect it through that portion of the market cycle, I think having the big block in there is a big advantage, and also shows our commitment to the project as the Osisko Group.
For sure. Now, you must be here meeting some of those institutional guys and gals.
Yeah, totally.
So their concerns, because they're obviously suffering from, well, certainly on the fund side, redemptions. They're suffering like everyone else. Are you under any pressure to perform?
Totally, yeah. I haven't taken any days off this year. I as I always say, I'm built for war, not peace. So I like these kind of markets in terms of getting everybody motivated and expediting things and putting a sense of urgency into things. So we work hard in these markets, and right now we're taking advantage by securing equipment. We've bought our own milling equipment, which is all brand new, but in storage in Prince George at about 10 cents on the dollar. We've secured contracts with Sandvik and other suppliers. We're working hard with First Nations on power line joint ventures. So we're very busy in terms of a down cycle strategy, which we've been through before. You have to remember, we built Canadian Malartic, Canada's largest gold mine, in 2008 and 2009, when the world was ending. So we've seen these things before. And if this is the market you want to work 20 hours a day in, because you can get a lot done while everybody else is, having a chat about what to do next.
But talk to me about I always like to know what's going on in the head of the CEO. In good times, it's easy to kind of, just let things run as they are because it's working. Why change it? In moments like this, you've been putting a lot of pressure on your management teams to actually perform.
Yes. Some would say that.
Yeah. I've seen a few headlines. So your message to them and your message to shareholders about, again, come back to that, how do you build businesses is what?
Well, I think I'm like a lot of entrepreneurs. I come from a very humble background. So I always have a sense of urgency about getting things done and making hay while the sun shines because, I did 13 years in West Africa. My takeaway from that is no matter how bad it is, could get far worse.
With him.
So my intensity in the development, especially development assets, which are extremely hard, and it's a different sport. There's not that many of us that do it. You have to be pushing all the time, and the harder you work, the more opportunity you create, and that's certainly been the case for us. We sold our company in 2014. We IPO'd with Osisko Royalties 2 days later. About $500 million market cap. Now that company is worth $3.2 billion, and the other companies on the platform are worth about another $2 billion. So combined, it's $3 billion for the royalty company and $2 billion for the rest of the platform. So we're bigger now than we were in 2014, and that's come out of this sense of urgency to push. John Brzezinski's he's a extremely capable CEO, and he's done an extraordinary job of raising money and drilling out the Windfall deposit, which nobody else, I think, could have done. And we're in the same process, both in the Caribou Gold Project as well as in Utah, where we remain perched on the edge of greatness there with drilling next to Robert Friedland's Tintic project, chasing after a Bingham-style porphyry. So we're elephant hunting on that one, which is what the Osisko platform is for, is to go and do good geological work and then do, acquire things. In the case of Tintic, for example, we spent 13 years working on that. The targeting was really originally done by Dick Silito, who's somewhat the godfather of the porphyry model. And, Dick's been calling us every 2 months for 13 years that we need to own this thing and drill this thing. We finally got it done in 2022. And that's the Osisko way, is that, we persist. We don't necessarily do the deals that are available in the marketplace. We choose what we want to do, and then we drive hard to make it happen. This one took forever. It took 13 years to get it.
Yeah.
And we're about to drill that here in the next month or so.
So do you feel you've got enough on your hands at the moment? Because it's tough to get money in this market for anyone.
Yeah.
The great and the good equally, but there's some deals out there as well. But your portfolio is big enough?
I'm a context player. I don't really look at the market so much as I look at assets on a relative to each other basis. And I'm always looking for tier one assets. And the only time that those become available to a group like us is during a downtick. So we're hunting. We're looking at things pretty intensely. And we'll take advantage where possible. We've had extraordinarily good access to capital. We've raised over $3.2 billion in equities on the platform. So we're pretty well known within the institutional space, and as close to being a bankable name as you could be, I think.
Right.
There's the Lundins and the Robert Friedlands and the Ross Beatties of the world, and,
right?
Our group has been pretty capable, and we've delivered value in the past. So
we're going to finish off here, because I know you've got places to be and meetings to be in. Okay, I like markets like this because it shakes the tree. Things fall out that should fall out. And there's a little bit more breathing room for everyone else. So your advice for investors looking and assessing and diligencing companies, what makes a strong company? What makes a good investment?
Well, the case of ODV, we've got $86 million in cash on the balance sheet, no debt. We've got $33 million worth of marketable equities. And we've got 2 world-class brownfield camps that are right in our Osisko theme, which is called SUDS, which stands for Shut Up and Drill Stupid.
So first time I heard that. That's good.
No, that's the Osisko theme. It was on our PowerPoint back in 2004. So we're looking at all these brownfield camps, which is our specialty.
Yeah.
Within the group, we've done a couple other things. Brunswick exploration in the lithium space, and then Gaspé Copper and Pine Point and some of these other base metal projects. And we continue to acquire good assets. Within the group, we have very capable management teams that we can incubate assets with, and then in our group, when you have a good management team and they take an asset to a certain level, we tend to go back to the start and incubate another asset and continue to grow that way and add value. So I think if you look at the Osisko group, you can buy a lot of these. The royalty companies, obviously, going to be the hot ticket in the downtick market in the development space. I think between OSK and ODV, you've got a couple of leaders in the space that have the ability to do world-class things. So that's kind of where I would sit right now. And catalyst events that for investors are, permits and project financing and wrap ups, mine builds, and that sort of thing. For true value, those are where the paydays are going to come.
Sean, appreciate the time. Busy man.
Thank you.
You better get back there.
So we back to the battlefield.